I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired.
Hi everyone, I'm Belle. Welcome back to our channel, Joss and Belle, where we talk about everything pop culture, from music to movies and so much more. I had an entirely different video planned for you guys, but with the devastating news that came out on Friday.
And the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade, that they have eliminated the constitutional right to an abortion.
Overturning the constitutional right to your own bodily autonomy. I wanted to switch gears and film a video that was a little more on topic. Don't worry, it's still movie related. So if you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos every week. Okay, let's jump in. Today I'm reviewing the 2021 French film Happening. The French title is L'Événement. I think I'm saying that right.
L'événement.
It won the top prize in the Venice Film Festival in 2021. The film Happening is based on a novel by the same name by French author Annie Ernaux. And the story follows a young student in 1960s France who finds herself pregnant and her journey trying to end that pregnancy. So let's dive into my thoughts. Let's start with the story, the plot. The main character, Anne, is a young student from a small rural town in France, and she goes to school in a bigger city. Just a contrast shown between her family's rural life, this mom and pop bar / restaurant that they own and operate right outside of their home, and the contrast between that and her city life, where it's a bar where the students go out dancing and meeting people they're romantically interested in. All of those contrasting scenes really highlight the difference between rural life, urban life. I think it was also trying to show the difference between an era that's phasing out in French life in the 1960s and this more modern era that Anne is a part of, growing up as a modern student, a modern woman, becoming her own woman outside of the identity of her family. So already there's that coming of age aspect to her story. And then of course, she gets pregnant. Immediately, there's no question in her mind. She doesn't want this pregnancy to come to term. She's a top student, the pride of her family and hometown. She has dreams of becoming a professor herself. So first she goes to her friends, asks for their help. What should she do? And at this point in 1960s France, abortion is illegal, and anyone aiding and abetting abortion can be imprisoned. So her friends don't help her. The original doctor who let her know that she was pregnant wouldn't help her either. So she goes to a specialist to see if he will help her. All the doctors are male, of course. The doctor says he will give her some pills that will terminate the pregnancy. She goes home, she takes them, fingers crossed, hoping she'll get her period. It doesn't happen. She tries to give herself an at-home abortion. She sterilizes, I think it's a coat hanger. She thinks it works, there is some blood. It doesn't. A friend gives her the name of a woman who helps out other women who find themselves in the same situation. It's very secretive. The woman then performs, again, what is essentially an at-home abortion, but she's more experienced. Frantically, she goes back to the woman, the midwife, who tells her, yes, we can try again, but it's gonna be really dangerous. Finally, it works. She wakes up feverish, she's very ill, it's very violent and gory. The pregnancy tissue comes out of her in the bathroom stall at her dorm. She's like passing out, there's so much blood. They get her to the hospital, and it kind of highlights something they mentioned earlier in the movie. It's really a flip of a coin. Is the doctor gonna label it a miscarriage or an abortion? The last thing we as the audience see before Anne's eyes flutter shut, before the camera kind of fades to black, the last thing we hear is the doctor saying, miscarriage, she's not gonna go to jail. Overall, this is a really great film. It's beautiful. I was invested in the characters. I really liked it a lot. But I think the strength of this movie is the direction and the cinematography that really conveys the tone of the film and the different scenes. For example, it's shot so naturally. None of the characters, especially Anne, our main character, are putting on pretenses. They're not contrived. They're very honest and raw. And it's not even necessarily what the characters themselves might be or be written as, but it's the way that they're shot that it makes them feel so natural and raw. In the scenes Anne has with her friends from school, they seem so young and innocent and girlish. Even when she's playing like this hard to get or kind of flirtatious role at the bar, the way Anne is shot makes her seem so vulnerable. And then the scenes with the doctors, she's so trusting. And at the same time, the film conveys such a sense of urgency, and the camera is so intimate with the characters. Obviously within the story, there's this ticking time bomb of when it will be too late for her to abort. And the film shows us timestamps every couple of weeks. And the camera is unflinching in the way it shows us the different abortion attempts. It really makes the viewer uncomfortable and internalize this ticking time bomb, this urgency. The way that the cinematography and direction really creates this sense of urgency somehow reminds me of Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
The two movies could not be further apart in theme or in character or anything like that, but I was so uncomfortable watching Uncut Gems. I think that was intentional, but Happening really felt similar in the way that the camera made me so uncomfortable, squirming in my seat at the theater, covering my eyes. And I think it's so cool that two movies that are so different could have that same sort of effect. And yet in the same way, it's really beautifully balanced with these very natural sex scenes. It's two young people kind of figuring out what they want with each other, and the camera doesn't shy away from that either. It really reminded me a lot of Portrait of a Lady on Fire as well, which does have an abortion in the movie. In Portrait of a Lady on Fire, they depict it as something so natural and so normal to the female life at the time. There was no shame around it. In Portrait of a Lady on Fire, the abortion happens in a room full of kids where the midwife, has clearly experienced the process of birth herself, has clearly helped others give birth, and has also helped others terminate pregnancies. So Portrait of a Lady on Fire really portrays abortion as something that's been happening forever and that's such a natural part of life, which it is. Which is so interesting when you compare it to Happening. Though there is tons of shame in 1960s France around women's sexuality, and of course shame and even imprisonment for having an abortion, the way the film is shot and written allows the viewer to really see how natural and necessary an abortion is for Anne and for so many other people. Overall, I give this movie 4 stars out of 5, and simply losing that 5th star because it is so uncomfortable and painful to watch, but I think it's necessary to watch. I definitely would recommend watching this movie, and if you've seen it, let me know in the comments below what you thought. Unfortunately, Happening is a really timely movie right now, and I really recommend everyone giving it a watch. And after you watch, you can visit abortionfunds.org and see how you can help people in the US retain bodily autonomy. Hopefully we can have a more lighthearted video for you next week. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video.